Ladies, young ladies and gentlemen, good morning to all or good evening. Once again, welcome here to your very beloved platform, the platform of awakening consciousness. It's the headline of international news. It's making the headlines worldwide. Yes, after Jeddah in Saudi Arabia, after, of course, the agreement made between the American side and the Ukrainian side, and the result of this agreement should interest Russia. And that's why the United States of America, acting as facilitators, have decided to do everything to inform Russia about the content of the agreement and do their utmost to ensure that Russia can accept this 30-day ceasefire agreement. So, it is thus that since March 12, 2025, an American delegation is already on its way to Moscow to meet with the Russian side and discuss it. And so, dear ladies and gentlemen, it should be noted that March 11th will remain etched in history. In the world, March 11, 2025 is the date on which an exceptional meeting took place in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, between the Americans and the Ukrainians. Negotiations took place, and an agreement was reached for a 30-day ceasefire. Initially, it would be 30 days, and then afterwards, they can extend the number of days. The content of the ceasefire has not been provided as such. Will the ceasefire simply concern military operations in the air, at sea, and on land? There is a big question mark. So, when the agreement was reached between America and Ukraine, the announcement was made. But America announced that from now on the ball was in Russia's court. The vector for the advent of peace in Ukraine thus becomes Russia. And when Russia heard the news through the press, in a detailed and comprehensive statement, the head of Russian diplomacy, Maria Zakharova, officially announced that Russia would reach out to the relevant American authorities in order to thoroughly understand the situation. And afterwards, Russian diplomacy issued an official statement in which they said they are waiting to see the content of the agreement, the content of the ceasefire, since Russia cannot decide so automatically. No, Russia needs to analyze to be explained what the content is, since no party, no. Russian delegation was in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, so they do not know the content. Then, this is how afterwards America tried to threaten Russia. Here, Donald Trump said, either Russia accepts, or we all continue militarily to assist Ukraine, etc. But well, since March 12, 2025, America decided to send a delegation to Russia. Already it's a big step, because you are not unaware that this very relationship was interrupted. First, the phone calls were interrupted. Seeing an American delegation set foot on Russian soil is somewhat of a miracle, especially since in 2024, Russia had taken an official action. The Russian State Duma had taken an official action listing the United States of America on the list of enemy countries to Russia. And so, when Russia classifies a country like that, it doesn't mean friendship. But it took the arrival of Donald Trump in power to see changes take place. That's why, moreover, the presence of the American mission on Russian soil is already a great advantage, a great asset. Secondly, it is very likely that Russia might accept, since Russia has always presented itself as being in good faith to move towards negotiations for the advent of peace in Ukraine. So, the ceasefire will be accepted, certainly, because according to several sources, close to the Kremlin, Russia is nevertheless ready to accept the ceasefire, but on the condition that this ceasefire has as its true objective the preparation of a definitive peace agreement. Because Russia wants peace. Initially, Russia did not want a temporary ceasefire because it looks like a trap. They will say it's just temporary. In the meantime, it will allow them to better rearm, to better redefine their strategy, to counter Russia. Because, in matters of conflict, time is very precious. And currently, as we are speaking, every minute, every second that passes, Russia is advancing on the ground. Russia is reclaiming territories. So, is this a way to try to stop Russia in its tracks? All these questions have been raised. The leaders in Russia have asked themselves these questions. But nevertheless, the American delegation must be received. Listen to them simply, and then decide. So, they are on their way to Russia, if they haven't already arrived. In any case, at the time I am conducting the video conference. And so, before continuing the video conference, I ask you to share it as much as possible. Please share it in all possible groups. So, what needs to be added is what? It's that while the American delegation is on its way to Moscow, to Russia, we don't know in which city they will be received. Since March 12, 2025, Russia has performed great miracles in the Kursk region. So in addition to the fact that Vladimir Putin himself personally traveled to the Kursk region, we have a very important city, the city of Sudzha. Sudzha was liberated, almost without a fight. Then, the Ukrainian armed forces began to retreat towards the border. Ukrainian prisoners were captured in Sudzha. And these prisoners report that their command abandoned them to their own fate, and that they had no choice but to surrender. The videos are available. So, the Kremlin, in light of all this, declared that the momentum was good. Yes, that they were close to success. So then, while America is preparing to present the ceasefire proposal, Russia continues in the best possible way to finalize the cleanup on its soil, not to mention what Russia is doing on the Ukrainian side, across the entire Ukrainian territory. We are in a game, let's say, a political game, a geopolitical game, a game of deception. Everyone is trying to impact their opponent as negatively as possible to gain a position of strength during negotiations. So, ladies and gentlemen, here is the headline news. We will continue to follow. We will see what comes out of the meeting between the American delegation and the Russian side. We will return to this to be able to decipher. Thank you to everyone. Thank you for sharing the video conference as much as possible. I will be back shortly, by the grace of the Almighty, with new updates. This was the voice of your one and only Samurai. Thank you.